Welcome to Winged Wolf Podcast. This is the podcast where we're going to keep it real and raw. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty, talking about everything that everyone's so scared to say. We're going to bring them onto the table to interview them about religion, about politics, about eating organic, living off the grid, the masculine, the feminine, their needs, their wants, what is lacking in today's society, this dating world. How do we create that tribe mentality again to get our families back together, to protect our children? We are going to talk about everything. We're going to travel. We're going to have some fun on this show. So let's get to it. Wing and Will Podcast. Let's rock and roll. Your host, Elizabeth Mooney. Welcome, everyone, to Wing and Wolf Podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Mooney, and I'm here with a special guest, Diego.
Hello.
Hello. And so, funny little note about this is take two. So we filmed earlier, and there was no audio. So then we met some friends and had some drinks at Nashville Palace, and here we are again.
Now my English is way better.
So take two. So this is Diego. I met him through Clayton. He was on the first podcast. And Diego, his story that I was seeing through social media, I felt he was a great guest for the show because he has really weathered the storm to all the opportunities that he has now.
I was born in a small town, northern Spain, called Cangas del Narcea. I was 14, 15 years old. I was completely obsessed with American rock and roll, especially 50s. Elvis Presley, Jim Vincent, Eddie Cochran, Little Richard, Chuck Berry, all those guys.
I had a good life in Spain. I have a good family, good friends, good job, my band. But my dream is playing rock and roll in America, so I took the road less traveled. I had to do a fast stop in Mexico to create a bigger resume in order to apply for the work visa in the United States. And it was a great time playing in huge festivals, preparing myself for the big jump.
And finally make my big dream come true. Yep.
So this is Diego, and he's
Nice
going to tell you a little bit about himself, where he's from, what you've been through, and what you're doing, which is pretty awesome.
Well, my name is Diego. Everybody call me the Bull. I'm a very stubborn and I'm a big dude. And, I'm from Spain, so the bull is the animal, the spirit of Spain. And also, it fits my personality, like being stubborn and chasing and driven. So I became in love with American music and American culture when I was 15 years. 15 years old. I was born in a small town in Asturias, northern Spain. We didn't have a guitar store, record stores, anything. However, a friend of mine gave me a cassette with Little Richard songs, and I get in love with that sound. And so I started listening Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, Jim Vincent, Eddie Cochran, Jerry Lee Lewis, and began to be very attracted about American culture, the movies, Hollywood, Clint Eastwood, the westerns, muscle cars, especially rock and roll. And that passion for rock and roll and that admiration for American culture brought me to here, to Nashville, Tennessee.
See, this little boy in Spain, and you were saying earlier, like 8,000 people, right?
8,000 people.
And so no instruments, music-wise, or anything like that. And then you fell in love with American culture through the music, and you learned how to speak English through the music, which is pretty awesome.
A little bit, yeah. I learned more when I came here, but I need a little bit.
You started?
I'm starting with the Elvis songs and things like that. And because I want to know what the people were saying.
Yeah.
So I was translating the lyrics and trying to learn a little bit through them, through the American singers.
So were you always able to sing? Was it a gift or something that developed?
I honestly, I don't think I have a gift for music. I mean, I'm a songwriter, I'm a producer, I play guitar, I sing. But I think it's hard work more than natural talent, if that makes sense. And pure love about American music or rock and roll music in general, not only American music, but especially American rock and roll. However, when I was 15, 16, I was so obsessed that I want to be on the stage. So that kind of stubbornness, and I convinced another two guys in the town to buy instruments. we have to drive to the city. We couldn't drive. We have to take a bus and go to the city and buying instruments. So buy a guitar, a bass, and a drum kit. We didn't know how to play at all. Zero, literally zero.
Wow.
So we have to learn with a book. That we didn't have teachers. So there wasn't record stores in town or guitar stores, anything. However, that make us good musicians because we have to practice every single day
Yeah.
to learn how to play.
Wow.
So we were working extremely hard during a couple of years till we turned 17 and we can start playing in town.
And that's what you did?
That's what we did. We played because in my town there is not too many things to do. And,
Yeah.
we have fantastic food, fantastic bars, but we don't have too much entertainment. Yeah, go to the mountains and hiking and things like that. So we did a concert and the whole town was in the concert. So my very first concert was original songs and also some covers. It was packed up.
Wow, that's cool.
And that was beautiful. And then I really like it. I really enjoyed it. And I decided I want to keep moving and keep playing music and trying to reach the biggest level that I could.
So then your dream and your goal was to come to the States.
I was always very attracted about living in the United States, and it was my goal. But I knew it was a very, very difficult goal. But it was a time many years later when I was 35 years old, and I decided to do the big move and come into this country.
And that's definitely like that takes a lot of
It was
to do that. And
was,
you were saying that you needed to get a visa, right?
So the first problem is getting a work visa, because as a European you can come here with a tourist visa that allows you to stay in the country during 3 months, like making business interviews and things like that, and tourists, but you cannot work. And after 3 months you have to leave. So most of the people, they get the visa, they apply for the visa during years in Spain, and then they come here. In my case, I came here with a tourist visa, 3 months, my guitar, $3,000 in my pocket, and a suitcase, and I was English than now. And I knew
you went straight where at this point? LA?
I went to LA. I went to LA, California, because I thought that LA was still a rock and roll city. Because the 80s, Guns N' Roses, 80s, and Motley Crue. So I went straight to LA, which, by the way, is a very expensive city. So the money was not lasting too long, and my visa was about to expire. And I didn't want to overstay in the country, so I had to leave the country. So I did, and I went to Mexico City. I didn't want to come back home and, like defeated or... I knew if I came, it was going to be very difficult to come back again to the continent America. So I went to Mexico and I spent back and forth to Spain and Mexico in 3 years. I did 72 gigs there. I play a lot for promoting my music and promoting my stuff. So I became to be a bigger resume in Mexico and also in the United States and also in Spain. So I could apply for the work visa here. Which it was pretty difficult. It took me 1 year. I have to come back to Spain to wait for my visa.
Oh, wow.
And but finally I get the visa. It's a visa called Extraordinary Talent in the Art of Music.
Oh.
That means that your talent is approved enough that you can be in this country working.
Okay.
And I was very proud about that.
Yeah. Because, you got it from your passion.
Yeah, and I was even offering to get married and things like that.
Well, I did. I said in the past when I said... gonna get married or let's get that visa.
Yeah, but I didn't want to do it because I came here with a lot of respect and love for the country.
Yeah.
And then for myself, I didn't want to lie the country and lie myself. I want to do it in the right way, and which I did. And it was tougher. I took the road of trouble. Sometimes doing it in the right way is more difficult.
So, but
it was, and it's a feeling when you get something in the right way and for your own work and talent, it's a great feeling. It's a huge reward. So I was very happy and grateful and proud that the government gave me the work visa. However, the visa only is for 3 years and only allows me to work in the music, which I did. I was working during 3 years non-stop, like literally non-stop. And then every 3 years you need to reapply in order to keep living in the country. So you can be lazy. You can be relaxing. You have
So
to
that
be.
was also like your push.
Yeah, one of the pushes the you have a deadline, but at the same time was a problem because there is a couple of things, a couple of albums that I didn't want to put it out yet because it wasn't the right time. But I have to do it to prove that I was doing music and I was releasing things, and the pushing was the totally commitment to do it. Like the big push was I came here to win, and I came here
It was a big
to
picture.
to make my music. And however, the reality is like I didn't. My English was even worse than now, and I want to play English songs, and so that I have to learn the language, adapting to a new culture, making new friends, finding a band, and tell the people that I'm. And I was living. Then when I moved from Mexico, I came to Austin, Texas,
Okay,
not to LA.
yeah.
So in Austin, there's a great musicians there. So the competition is huge. And then, honestly, first month, I saw all those guitar players, singers. Everybody was, I wouldn't say better than me, but they were very good.
Yeah.
But then I realized the competition is something that you have in your mind. As a human being, we don't have competition because you are unique.
Right, yeah.
So that's what I was thinking. I said, well, yes, be yourself. Be the bull, be Diego, be singing in Spanish with an accent, but that's my signature. That's who I am. So that's I began to be a little more confident and trying not to copying anyone, inspired by others, but not copying anyone. So start.
Have your own individuality of what you bring.
Correct.
So you were saying why I said bum is because you said the road less traveled, and that's because he has a trailer coming out, his documentary, which is pretty awesome, and that's why I wanted Diego on the show. It talks about his path, so everyone, I do this podcast for the same reason he has this documentary. We learned a lot that a lot of stuff is very familiar with us. It's to give back. It's to show that there are tribulations and you walk through the fire and rise like a phoenix, and you learn and you grow and you stay the course even through those obstacles. So the trailer of the documentary, tell them.
Yeah, there is a documentary coming about my music journey. It's called I Took the Roadless Trouble. By the way, it's the first song that I wrote in English. The song is called The Roadless Trouble with my band Bull y los Búfalos, Bull and the Buffaloes. So it's a production company in Austin, Texas called Penny Rock Productions, and LA Lloyd Rock 30. There is a rock and roll radio DJ. He's also owns Rock Syndicated with 51 stations. They decided to make a movie about my music journey and telling deeper what I'm telling to you.
Yeah.
So they were following me with a camera during 2 years, touring in Midwest with Ace Frehley.
That's really cool.
With 30th Special. They went to me to LA to visit the first motel when I landed in LA for the first time. We went to Spain to check to talk with my friends, with my family, and trying to be the difference between America and Spain, and then obviously Nashville and Austin.
How did that project come about? Was it your idea or someone else's?
Well, the idea was, it came from I met a guy in Austin called Raymond McGlamery. He was he passed away a couple of years ago. He was a very good friend of mine, a huge supporter, and he was a music manager in the 80s. He was working in Warner Bros. And he really liked my music. And he said, what I really like about your music is every song that you wrote, there's a real story behind, about overcoming, fighting. And I say, you really need to tell your story. You really need to find a way to tell your story, not only with your music, maybe in reels, maybe in a video, maybe in a documentary. So these guys, they decide, well, we don't do a documentary. So we go and we redo the travel that you did. So I felt like an imposter, you can say that in English, imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
Because I'm not a big star. And they said, well, everybody does a documentary for big stars like that, but I'm not a big star. But they said, well, but your story is very powerful.
Yeah.
And then I realized that the documentary is not about me. The documentary is about dreaming hard, chasing your dreams, overcoming American dream, American culture. In this case, I'm the main role of the movie, but it could be another guy too.
Right.
And
people could relate to it.
Yes. And I'm not a big star, but if you think about how many miles I did, how big and difficult was the trip from a small town in the mountains in the North Asturias for someone that doesn't speak English, like coming here and play a halftime NBA game show, have music on TV.
And even that was a great story. He told me
Yes.
that when we were out, that you went to the game.
And the San Antonio Spurs game,
Yeah.
NBA.
And then you were like, I'm going to perform here. And how many years later did you?
1 year and a half.
Well,
I was in the San Antonio Spurs game with some friends that invited me to the show, to the game, and they say, guys, one day I'm going to be playing here in this state. They laugh about me. They say, you'll see. And I think 1 year and a half or 2 years later, I was playing a halftime on an NBA game show and after party on the stadium.
mm,
On those days it was called AT&T Stadium.
mm-hmm.
And it was a huge show. It was hundreds of people, and it was national TV folks. So I made it happen.
Yeah.
And I think determination is what really, really makes it.
And I could tell that. So it's kind of good that we had to refilm this, because when we went out, I learned more about Diego, and he has such a kind spirit, and you remind me of like Clayton with a lot of it, but he's so driven, and I think I could relate to that as well. So it's just the accomplishments. And you've only been in Nashville for what, like 6 months?
A little bit, yeah, 6 months. Yeah, I went to Christmas to Austin, but yeah, even 6 months. Yeah.
So now you're doing a documentary. How many albums do you have so far?
I have 2 albums in Spanish, 2 albums in English,
Mm.
4 singles, and 1 EP. So there's
and there's a new album that's going to be out.
And I'm writing a new album with my friend Verdi, that he's a guitar player. He's from Spain also. So we're writing a new album, and we have the documentary, and we are preparing a couple of showcases in town and trying to get back on the road again. I was touring the last year, but I didn't tour yet this year. So there's a lot of networking here in Nashville. That's the reason that I moved to Nashville, because everything is happening here. Right?
Yeah.
This city is on fire about music. It's music every corner, every time of the day.
Right.
And it's fantastic people. It's a very welcoming city, full of life and good vibration, and also full of music industry people.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't know how to say, you need a team to put your music out, to get a tour. I did a lot of things by myself. I put some music on the Mayans TV show, Sons of Anarchy spin-off.
Yeah, so I want to just touch base with that. So I think that's really cool. So Diego's music is in the Mayans MC TV show, and it's on Hulu. You said,
Hulu,
right?
and FX network.
Yeah. So his music is on a show. So that's a huge accomplishment as a musician.
Yeah. And that was a big one. Yeah.
And they're cool songs too. I was listening to them. So you have to check him out. He's on Instagram. So where can they find you? Social media.
Well, the social media, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And you can go to the website that is bullyloSbuffalos.com, bullandthebuffaloes.com, and we have all the links to the social media, and also Spotify, of course.
Yeah, so the music's on Spotify, and when I do this podcast, I'm going to put up a trailer clip from the documentary, and then a couple clips of you performing.
Good.
But if you go to his Instagram, you'll hear the songs from the show, which I think that's awesome. So he has a documentary, he has his albums, he's out there, his music already is in shows, and he has a couple sponsors, which is just wonderful, because this man has been so tenacious and didn't give up. And he was telling me he was living in a tent, right?
Yeah, during the pandemic, like I told you, I didn't. Now I have a green card after 9 years, because I was renewing every 3 years my work visa, my music visa. Then finally I applied for the green card, which is a permanent resident and allows you to work in different fields, but I'm still working in music. I got the green card.
And that's a huge accomplishment. After all that time.
That was amazing. Like, Anna, that was fantastic. But during the pandemic, my visa only allows me to work in music. So music it was shut down. We
Yeah.
were the first one losing our job, and I didn't have too much money on my pocket. I couldn't work because I couldn't work in another field. I only couldn't work in music, and
Right, 'cause
even
of
like that,
visa.
everything was shut. Means that
Mm.
I couldn't do anything. So I lost my apartment, and it was I couldn't apply for unemployment benefits neither because with the visa that I had, you are not allowed to do it.
Mhm.
So I didn't took it wrong, and I thought, everybody thought the pandemic is going to be just 3 months. They always say, "No, 15 days, 15 months." So um, I love camping. I'm a primitive camper. I go to the forest and I have a good equipment.
Mhm.
So I decided to go to camping in the forest close to the lake for 1 month or something like that to clear my head and waiting for the the bite of the
Pandemic to
pandemic
end.
was ending being in 1 year.
Yeah.
So I live in a tent during 1 year with no
You
crew.
did? You lived in it for a year? A whole year?
1 year straight
Wow,
with no
okay.
water, no electricity. Means there was bathroom it was a camping, but nobody
Yeah.
was in the camping. A few people sometimes. So I was by myself most of the time.
Wow.
Then some people start coming, other campers, and I made a good friends there. And it was honestly, it's gonna sound weird, but it was one of the best times in my life. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying that being homeless is a good thing. Of
Right.
course, it's not
You
a
were
good thing.
just
It's not
connected.
a good thing at all. And I was a little confused too, and a little lost. But at the same time, I was connecting with the nature. I was
Right.
connected with myself,
Is you were in the primitive state of really how we were meant to be. You were
and
in
that's correct.
nature.
Nature, and then I was swimming in the lake every day,
Yeah.
cooking in a grill, and sleeping in a tent. So I wrote an album there, an EP with. It was a fantastic story about overcoming too, because my friend in Spain, Verdi, the same one that I'm writing songs with him, he was in a lockdown. He's in an apartment in Spain, depressed because he was. And I say, "Hey man, I'm writing these lyrics. Do you have any guitars?" Yeah, I don't have access to my guitar, to my amp or anything, but I can record a couple of things in the laptop. So I have a hand recorder with batteries.
Mhm.
So I was recording guitars, an acoustic guitar, or singing and sending to him. He was sending. We were like months like that. So we just for fun and for keep our mind busy,
Yeah.
we built three pretty good songs recorded with a hand recorder and with a laptop,
Mhm.
nothing else. And when the last song that was Dinero Primero means money first. The beginning is with the drumming, boom, 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 and I say, I think we need something. I bought a plastic kayak, a very cheap kayak, like inflated, like you put air.
Yeah.
So I was in the lake and I have the hand recorder and I start. So I recorded with the hand recorder, send it to him. He put sound effects, and bam, we have this is for real. We have an album with recorded with hand recorded in a tent and a picnic table and a kayak, and this guy with just a guitar plugged in a laptop.
Awesome.
Send it to my guys in LA because I have my band in LA. We put the drumming and we put the bass. And when the pandemic was about to end, and Raymond called me and say, "Hey, do
Mhm.
you have anything new?" I have this. I said, "What do you record this? You're not going to believe it. Do you like it?" And she sounds killer. And we put it out. Thanks to that EP, I get a record deal in a
Wow.
management company. I send it, be my best player, knew a manager in Wisconsin. And I say, hey, send it to him now at the end of the pandemic. So the guy called me and said, I think this is fantastic. I want to, and he gave me a record deal and a management deal. So I ended the pandemic with
With
a
the record
record
deal and a
under my
match.
arm,
Wow.
recorded, and we put it out like that. It has
Wow. That's
300,000 streams, and we put it out with the hand recorder and the laptop. So, so sometimes it's not about technology. Sometimes it's not
yeah.
about what you have resources. Sometimes it's about passion and
And really getting
determination.
into your soul and what's so your gift, it is like you are translating a message and you have a purpose. And you were telling me the first time we filmed about how you just were like tired of it because the music industry is really hard, so you wanted to give up. But then that woman.
Mm-hmm. So I wrote a song called Caffeine y Rock and Roll in Spanish. It means caffeine and rock and roll. And it's a song it's a very high energy song, kind of AC/DC style. And I wrote it, barely wrote part of the music. I wrote part of the music and the full lyrics. The lyrics was dedicated to a friend of mine. He was struggling with alcohol. So he was in rehab. So I was trying to cheer him up, and I said, "You only need caffeine and rock and roll and things like that." And so that he was trying to to clean up.
Mhm.
And so I wrote this, and the lyrics is talking about you only need passion, you only need rock and roll, yes, caffeine, you don't need rocks and have a high energy. So one day I was living in Madrid before I came here. And musicians we always time thinking in quitting because it's a very hard, very, very hard life.
Yeah.
And I was burned out, and I woke up and said, I'm gonna quit and get a real job.
Mm.
And I was about to do it, and I received a DM on my Facebook. It was a woman that told me the email. It wasn't an email; it was a private message. She told me, "I'm an alcoholic in rehab,
Mm.
and every day I go jogging, like running, and listen your song, and it really, really helps me. The music, the driving, and the lyrics, it really helps me to keep
It
clean.
speaks to
And
her.
and it really touched me. It is a maybe I have something to say. Maybe I don't have to give up." And so we were talking about like people like you are an artist and you have this room when the people came to dance, and I'm pretty sure you're helping people that
Right.
as
Like
a
I was telling
therapy.
you, when people come in, they escape for that hour, whether
Yes.
it's something they're going through, home, work, health, and they're present, they escape. And for you just to give that as a dance instructor, an artist, like you said it earlier too, it's in the past, it was about ego. Like, I'm going to make it big. And then after a while, you're like, okay, it's not about that. It's
Yeah.
about giving back. And music
Yeah.
speaks to those.
At the end, we are servers. When I was
Mhm.
younger, I was thought that it was about ego. I thought it's about I need the people telling me how good I am, how good I look, or clapping me all the time and cheering me up all the time. And I was craving that. But then I realized that it's the opposite. It's about them. So we are servers, and we are here to helping them to have a good time or forget whatever is happening in their life, to cheer them up or
Mhm.
inspiring or therapy. I believe that going to a rock
Right.
concert, it was therapy for me. And I believe I would like to think that when we play, we are doing the same to other people. So
Mhm.
now I understand we are more like serving them.
Yeah. And I think, like, for us as artists that stayed on the path with that is because we knew that we had a message. And the biggest impact and message we could have is when we actually walk through the fire ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the
Mm-hmm.
podcast is about. It's not just about like, oh, look at everything that we have. No, we walk through the fire, and it's for you not to give up. And if you have a dream or a passion or whatever it is, it could be anything. Just don't give up and stay on the path, walk through that fire. We living in a tent for a year.
Yeah.
You guys know my story of all my podcasts with things, and it's just staying connected to God and your path and having your purpose. The purpose is bigger than the circumstance.
And that's a good sentence. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is indeed. And
Yeah.
we are in a purpose. Every human being has a purpose.
Right.
And I think sometimes it's very difficult to find what is your purpose. But when you know it, you just give it to the world or to whoever.
And the best thing is to connect in nature. When
Ah,
you
no, because
connect,
nature is something that the
you
humans
will.
we lost it totally. And
Yeah.
I was born in the mountains, so I was very connected in a cross river. So I was very connected with nature all my life. And
And that was a great story he just told me. Just quickly, just
yeah,
touch
well,
on that.
I was born in a cross river and in a small town. So the house of my family, it was ending in a battle 500 years ago. Spain was in a lot of battles, so it was going through generation to generation to generations, and it still is in my family. And my estate is called Asturias. Is a state that never been conquered by any army in the history of Spain. And no the Muslims, no the Vikings, no Napoleon, no Romans. And so it is undefeated land. And we are kind of very proud about it
Yeah,
because,
which you should be.
and there's the flag of our state is a Christian cross because a big battle in the year 622 with the Muslims and the Christians. And with the Christian in this case, his name was Don Pelayo, was the king of Asturias. He won the battle. It was a huge battle between a number. He raised up a cross saying that they won. That cross still exists. It's in the cathedral in Oviedo, and it's called the Victory Cross. That is the name of my company, Victory Cross Entertainment. And I have a tattoo on my arm about the cross. And it's not about being anti-Muslim or something like that. Don't get me wrong, or anti-nothing. It's
the home that
just,
you have was won, right? From the
yeah,
battles, that's pretty cool.
The home that my family has, it was won in a battle.
Yeah.
So in the old days, when in Spain, when the people go to battles, and they gave them land. They gave me a piece of land or a small house or small castles or things like that. And some of them, they're still in history. So my house is one of them.
Yeah.
So it was, and it ended, won it in a battle in the year 1512. We don't know exactly the year but we know this around the 1500s. And then it was remodeling again on the 1700s.
So you see, Diego has quite a story. It's very interesting.
I can't give up. I have an ancestor that will be very angry with me.
So his journey from Spain to the States to Mexico, back to the States, his albums, Living in the Tent, and to being now in Nashville, and his songs in the show, and now he has a couple of sponsors too.
I've been supported by Gibson Guitars since 2018, helping me a lot in my career. Not only just giving me guitars, which they do, like bring me to shows, and I was playing at the Gibson Garage here in Nashville, which is a pretty cool spot. I have a pretty badass tequila company called Black Ship Tequila.
We just tried it.
We just try, right? Not too much, or not enough. It just depends on perspective. So it was elected the best tequila in the world, and it's based here. It's made in Mexico, but the brand is here in Nashville. And also, I have a company in New York called Lethal Threat Clothing. They do like biker and rock and roll and hot rod clothing. They've been supporting me since 2019 too. And I've been very supported and helped by a Studio Bank. That is a bank company here in Nashville.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
If you can check it, a Studio Bank is they are very into the music industry, and they are helping a lot of emerging musicians and also established musicians, and not only musicians, artists too. And I won't say that I'm sponsored by them, but they are helping me with a lot of inquiries.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. So he has sponsors, and so I'll put up a couple clips, and yeah, it's just been an amazing journey, right?
Yeah, it is. I'm getting a lot of fun, and it's up and down, up and down. Sometimes it's very hard, sometimes it's very fun, but it's what we do. And then Nashville is an amazing city, and we came here to play.
So check out his trailer when it's out. It'll probably be summer. You thinking?
I think we're gonna finish
put on the final touches.
Yeah, finishing the editing is gonna be summer. We need to shop the documentary, but I think it's gonna be by the end of the year or something like that. It's been hundreds and hundreds of hours. It's 2 years of filming, so it's a big project to get it done.
Yeah,
and we do it with.
That's exciting.
It was funny because when we get together in a restaurant, L.A. Lloyd, Penny Rock Production, the documentary guys and myself say, okay, how much budget we have? Zero. so okay, I mean. So we start with literally $0, and we went to 3 countries and 7 states.
Wow.
And so again, sometimes it's not about, you don't have to have everything to start.
Yeah, sometimes it's like you just, you don't know how it's going to happen, but you just trust and surrender and you just roll with it.
Yeah.
So this is why I had Diego on the show. I wanted you to hear his story. And then I'll put some clips of him performing. Check him out. Social media, again, Instagram, Spotify, all over. I'll add those clips as well. And pleasure having you on.
The pleasure's mine.
And I took him dancing.
I was trying. She's way better dancer than me.
All right. So I'm your host, Elizabeth Mooney, Wing and Wolf, and we'll check you next episode.
Thank you. Muchas gracias. Man, best day in my life.
Playing rock and roll with amazing people in an amazing country. For me, what is being successful? Family, friends, and chasing your dreams. If you are capable to put all your life in a suitcase and start from zero in another country, you are capable of anything.
The road less traveled.
So again, Wing and Wolf.